episode of Loose Links as we talk about this evening a lady in a care home left naked on her bed and told by carers to urine where she is. So I do ask the panel this evening, do we worry about our own care and going forward? Also, following James and Gemma's conversations, we talk about the big C word. No, I'm not talking COVID. I'm talking Christmas. Are we prepared for it? Are you early birds? And how is your COVID Christmas going to turn out? Also, we talk about this evening an old story about the Mental Health Capacity Act, where two people were sent under the Mental Health Capacity Act because she had dementia, which ruined a retirement holiday they had planned for. But with their daughter's help, it went to court and the act was taken off them. So we do talk about what we think, if it's really safe in care, the Mental Health Capacity Act. So joining me, I'm with my feisty women, it's girl power this week, is Sue Craven.
Hi.
Sandra Overton.
Hello.
And Kerry Gillespie.
Hello.
All that and a lot more on this week's Loose Linc.
Can I just interrupt you? Can we just mention, please, we've made it to 800 members.
Woo! On Facebook, thank you so much, each and every one of you. Please, please keep inviting your friends and family to this group because our plan is to make it to 1,000 members by December 25th. So that is our 2020 dream this year. So let's see if we can go out on a bang. Just to let you also know, the last episode of Series 1 of Loose Links will be Tuesday, the 15th of December. We do have a very special episode for you between Christmas and New Year, the Tuesday between Christmas and New Year, where it'll be a panel of 7. Not a panel of 4, it'll be all the behind-the-scenes team on one panel. And then we restart on Tuesday, the 12th of January for Series 2. So make sure you get all of that in your diary. Good evening, panel.
Evening.
How are you? Sorry, I had to get through all of that. That was a bit like a long stare at the camera, wasn't it, almost? We're not talking here, we'll carry on. We'll go straight into topics. Unfortunately, miscommunication happened, so there was no polls up this last week. So polls will be put up this week, so you can join in with the conversation. Big shout out to the people that are working on our social media platforms. One of them is right here this evening. Kerry Gillespie has made it to 150 members on Instagram.
Well done.
150 members on Instagram. And a big shout out to Sam Bingingham that covers our Facebook page and Twitter. She's been doing amazing too. So this evening, I'm in the driving seat and ladies, we're going for a trip to Skeg Vegas. Good evening, Skeggy.
Hi, Skeg.
As we talk about a residence in a care home that's a lady that was left on her bed naked and told to urinate where she is. A complaint was made by another resident living at the care home, and a family member turned up to the care home and saw the lady in a state. This was reported to the owner, and the owner knew nothing about it. So my question to you, panel, is, do you worry about our loved ones needing to go in care more and more as stories come out this way?
I think, sadly, we only get the bad news about nursing homes. I'm sure there are a lot, or quite a few, that are okay. My parents were both in nursing homes, and my husband's parents, and I could not speak more highly of them at all. They were all in the same nursing home. But sadly, it's like the media and TV, the newspaper, we only get the bad reports. And carers are born. They're not made. Carers are born. And a lot of, not a lot, but some carers are in it for the money and the job and don't have the patience. And one has to have an awful lot of patience with old people. It's not an easy job.
It's hard, yeah.
No excuse. That's no excuse for a resident to be in that situation. And what I would say, I think that the owner of the care home or whoever was in charge was not holding a tight ship.
No. But I'll also say that I'm afraid I don't agree with you. I think they get paid such a poor wage. They get minimum wage. They work long, hard hours. Over all the COVID, they've not had proper COVID. They've not been kept involved. PPE I'm talking about. You know, so it's very, very hard. I don't condone this home. I think it's bad. But what I do think is a lot of them come into caring, as you say, but it's so poorly paid and harder than they think. And I think it's a difficult job for them. And I think it's very difficult now and getting even more difficult to find decent caring homes. A lot of
I think I was going to say, because a long time ago, I was a carer back in Liverpool, not in a care home, but I would visit ladies. It was ladies that I'd visit them in their own home. And I've always been more so to the fact that if you're able to stay in your home for as long as possible, stay in your home and have a carer go out. The difficulty being, and exactly like Sandra's just said then, is that a carer, it's born into you, because I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I was being invited into somebody's home where maybe an elderly couple or an elderly lady on her own needed help with whatever it might be, and I have to do a lot of different things. And you do hear horror stories. I have heard horror stories of carers who have gone into private homes, who've taken advantage of people in their own home, which I don't like. There was a lot of stories, I think, a couple of years ago about care. I always remember watching a video about a particular care home. I think it was for younger people with disabilities.
I remember
they had the chair over the. I think it was a young girl.
Yeah,
you know, and not just. And I think I did have a little look into it a bit more. And actually, over the past couple of years, I've noticed on media that a few care homes have been closing down for numerous reasons. One was the condition of the nursing home, care home, don't like nursing home, condition of the care home that no one was highlighting. It was dirty, it wasn't maintained, it was mouldy, it was damp. Criminals, people with an criminal offence history of being employed. And it kind of just makes me think, well, the management of this care home or the management of the company, what are they doing? They surely should be taking out inspections every so many. In my view, every month there should be an inspection in a care home. There really should be, because it's people's lives here, isn't it? When you're thinking of it, there's not enough done at a higher level from what I've read. And then all of a sudden it's on the media or on the news that this has been, look at this, is a secret recording. Why have a secret? This should have been highlighted way before.
Yes.
And just picking up on what Sandra said a little bit though about being born into a role, I think there is an element of that. And Sue, I'm sort of going to put you a little bit on the spot, because I know I won't say too much about your private life, but your history has been education. Your being in education. And I worked with Sue at one point. I was under Sue's team. And have you, without naming people obviously, have you been in that role within looking after children, where you've seen people that you're just here because it's the money, not because of the care and compassion that you have for kids?
Yes, and also with the students, because there used to be a scheme, because I taught at the college as well, part-time, and there was a scheme that when they finished school at 16 or whatever, they could go to college and they could get £33 a week. This is about 10 years ago, and that was quite a decent wage.
Yeah.
So some of these girls who didn't know what they wanted to do went and got themselves on the level 1 childcare course, and they didn't want to be there. And I remember teaching one evening, and it was a 5 o'clock class. This girl came in, wouldn't take a coat off, wouldn't sit down. And I said, why are you here? You know, you're here to learn about children. Oh, I just like money. And unfortunately, I think, going back, I think this is another thing that Sandra said. I think a lot of it, and it comes from the top. A lot of these care home owners are in it for the money for themselves, not putting it back into the home. There's a very few that.
Well, if you look at that, like you just said, it's all to do with the money. You know, realistically, right? If my parents had to go in a care home, they would. What is going to pay for that care home placement? They own a house. All the money is going to go into that. And no disrespect, if you've worked all your life since you're 16, 17, and then all that money is going to go into a placement in a residential setting or care setting, I'd expect exemplary figure, measures put in, and that you looked after completely. Other than that, I'd have my parents at home. I'd have to do a lot of research, I think, around until I was happy and go and view places. But you could imagine that, and I can actually kind of feel for some people that have worked all their life to then lose the home, because not everybody wants to go in a care home. A lot of people do want to stay at home, and sometimes it's not possible for them to stay in the home that they've had for years, the family home. But all your money.
I think that's where it becomes, squeaky chair. I think that's where it becomes difficult as well, because that was going to be my second question, really. If a family member needed care, would you put your trust into a care home or carers, or would you sacrifice your own career to give up and care for somebody? It's a very difficult question, isn't it? And a lot of people out there have to go through that on a daily basis. And I've just done a bit of training on like care and working and being a full-time carer. And there are schemes now that you can say I'm a full-time carer, but I also work, because work goes around that. But I think that's a very dangerous game if we're going to go down that route, because the thing is, I think a lot of emphasis is put on for the person that's poorly, and that's understandable. We need to. That's the whole reason for care. I don't think the people that are caring for them, I don't think there's enough support.
They get that. Yeah.
Do you agree, or do you think the government maybe need to look more into that?
I don't know. Sure, I don't know. Surely there's got to be an element of support and training that they're given. I think personally, I don't know, because I don't work in that sector anymore. But personally, is it? I mean, Sandra's mentioned about her parents being in. There's no issues there. So surely it's to do with the setting that you're choosing to be in, the management of it, and knowing that it's being carefully monitored, I suppose, because like Sandra said, not every place is like that, and not every place is, and not every care is like that. So something's going wrong with certain ones. And is that down to a business venture of somebody wanting to make money, which is completely wrong, because that's not what it should be about. You've probably got these beautiful care homes who are in it because their priority is caring for people, not making money.
Sandra,
I think the one of the main reasons is that the care homes are privately owned by private individuals. I mean, the one my parents were in was owned by private individuals, and I know now it is ongoing as such. They're not governed by the government or care people, like you said earlier, that there should be somebody go in and check on a monthly basis, which doesn't happen, obviously, does it? Then you'd be coming into expense, I expect, if you came into where you had some governing body looking into that. But that's the solution, where somebody has to go in and they have to come up to certain standards.
But they do have them coming in. They have. I think it's
Right.
now 5 yearly inspection unless a family or a resident has a complaint. But the thing is, again, these homes that are lacking, they're very clever. They can talk the talk and they can say, oh yes, these things you've said we will do. They'll start to do them. The next inspection will come along, it's QA's Queen's something, and then that'll be it. It reverts back. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Well, what I was going to say as well, and this, can I just say now on camera, this is not working with Sue. I've been in. I'm changing it a bit again, but I've been in the education settings, and I think it's very much like that. It's like that. I hope. I haven't worked in education now for at least 7-8 years. I haven't worked in education, so I hope that it's changed. But that's very much the same for Ofsted. When Ofsted comes into schools, that actually we'll do this and we'll do this and we'll do this and we'll look bloody amazing, we'll look fantastic and we'll get a high score. But as soon as Ofsted's gone, that's normal again. It's back to, and I think when it comes to maybe coming in a care home and checking, care homes shouldn't be pre-warned.
No, exactly.
When my parents went in, my mother was the first one to go into a nursing home, and I spoke to the matron. She came to visit my mother in hospital, and I spoke to the matron and I said, can I make an appointment to come and see you? And she said, no. She said, I don't make appointments. She said, you can come and visit me in the home at any time. Because she said, if I make an appointment, she said, you will think I've cleaned up. And I got a complete tour of the whole home, the kitchens, everything. And it was, I couldn't fault it. I couldn't fault it at all. And I know it's being kept because I've got a friend whose mother-in-law was in, and I went to visit and it was still kept. Although it was under a different management, it was still kept in very, very good condition. Yes.
Well, interesting discussion, and actually, I think I'm getting more prouder of my panelists because we're not the nicey show anymore. We're actually disagreeing with each other, which is quite good. That's the whole point of the show. I quite like it. But remember, you're the fifth panellist out there, and if you are working in care or are in the situation of maybe thinking about giving up work and going into full-time carer, and if you are that carer, talk to us, discuss with us, tell us information that we don't know, and we're happy to be disagreed within our opinions. So please share yours. Please make sure that you get yours set. Ladies, I'm about to talk about the C word, and I'm not talking about COVID. Now, I will tell you before we start talking about the C word that I am the Grinch when it comes to this. We are talking about Christmas.
Yes!
After James and Gemma started to talk about the C word, not COVID, but Christmas, is it most likely to have a different Christmas this year than we've had for a very, very long time? So I ask you, are you an early bird for Christmas, ready, or are you always late to the party?
I'm an early bird.
Oh, Sandra, please don't say you are.
I love Christmas.
Do you?
I trim on the first week of December.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Well, remember, James, I know it won't be happening this year, but remember, I normally fly out to Thailand.
Oh, of course you do.
After New Year's Day.
She doesn't have a Thailand husband. Can I just mention that now? But no, I'm. So is that every year for you? First week of December.
You know Barbara. She came. You know Barbara Smith. Barbara came to my house the first time she ever came, and she said it's like Santa's grotto. Oh. She tells everybody that my house is like Santa's grotto.
Really?
Yes, yes.
What about you, Sue? When are you?
I'm the same. I'm with her all the way.
Oh,
First
good.
week in December, my tree's up. My husband's outside putting the lights up. I'm
Yes.
getting a book ready.
Yes.
This year, new
Can I
ones.
just remind you, ladies, that there's 12 days of Christmas, not 3 months. 12 days of Christmas. What about you, Karen? Have you got the tree up beginning of October?
Not October now, but I think each year I've got more earlier.
I feel like
I have
the
got
only
more.
Grinch
I have
on the
got more
planet.
earlier. I've got more earlier, and I've also got as the last few years have kind of panned out. I've probably started shopping earlier than normal. But saying that, to be honest, I probably do a lot of my shopping online. Last year I did anyway. And then I go out to the shops and do a last minute little thing, what else I can find. But
When are you talking about last minute? Are you talking like middle of December or Christmas Eve?
Oh,
you
not
don't
Christmas
shop
Eve.
on
Christ, not Christmas Eve, not a chance. That's a man's job, Christmas Eve. I'm not going out shopping on Christmas Eve. That's when all the blokes will be in the shop. I can't be doing with that. No,
Can we just say that that's only Kerry Gillespie's opinion? That's not what Loose Linc stands for. So that is
you agree with it, your last minute.
When I worked at Marks and Spencer's, the men always came in on Christmas Eve and they would buy probably a size 18 night dress for probably a size 12. They would buy anything at all.
Yeah. Talking about being early, to be honest, I was one of those Christmas people a couple of years ago, and it was a relationship that brought me down because I sort of got married. Yeah, I'm about to say it. I've never said it. I got married on the 23rd of December, so Christmas sort of changed for me after the relationship broke down. But I have been walking past people's houses that have already got their Christmas tree up.
No,
And
not
I just
yet.
think, are you having a laugh? I'm a bit OCD. So as soon as Boxing Day's arrived, I can't wait to get the tree down. I can't wait to get it away and put it away.
No.
But I don't know. I just think that I'm a bar humbug when it comes to, because we're about to talk about shops, but like I just think beginning of October there's Christmas stuff on the shelves. And I'm like, it's too much. But I do agree with the shopping thing. Like, I tell myself every single year, right, I'm going to be done at the beginning of December and I'm just going to enjoy the December month and enjoy it. And then I am that last minute man that's running out on the 23rd of December going.
Buying a size 18 dress, aren't you? Christmas Eve.
Carrie, please, can you stop talking about your Christmas present this year?
Thanks.
Can you start talking about it? So do you? So that's my second question. Do you think putting the tree up in October and Christmas things in the shop is bar humbug or the Christmas fairy?
I don't think there's any need to put the tree up this early, but I sort of understand shops because if you think about it, some people who are on a monthly basis and have to watch what they spend, they have only got possibly 2 wage packets now before Christmas. They've probably only got October and November. December might come for them if they're paid at the end of the month and their company or business doesn't pay them early, they may not have a payment until after Christmas. So they've probably got to share it and span it out.
Do you remember, Sandra? I'm going to share a funny story between us both. I used to stay at Sandra's house very near Christmas because I used to run a choir that Sandra was in Boston. And we were one day talking about Christmas cake, and I the best part of Christmas. I love Christmas cake. And she showed me this book, and I said, I've never made a Christmas cake, but I can't find a simple recipe. And she showed me this book from Marks and Spencer's that was years old, and she's like, this is the one that I make. And I said, well, that's quite simple. I'll try and see if we can get it online. And we got it online. Well, Sandra phoned me up and she went, I don't like it. And I went, why? Because she paid something like 15 quid from it from Marks and Spencer's. And I got it for like £3.50 off Amazon. Sandra had the paperback and I had the hardback.
I don't think it was even that much. I think it was something like about £2 or something.
It was so funny. Are you a
But
Christmas
at least I
cake
live
person?
on my Christmas cake.
Do you love Christmas cake?
Yes.
Not really.
Are you not a Christmas cake fan?
I make one, but I don't like it that much.
Do you not? What about you, Keza? Are you a Christmas cake fan?
No, disgusting. Absolutely gross. What I was just going to say before, just backtracking a little bit about you saying you've seen some people with the Christmas decorations up already. What are we in? End of October. Why not? It's been the crappiest of years.
Yes.
Probably more than that for some other people who haven't been getting out and about. Let people have something to look forward to, whether it's this early before Christmas or not. It must be a nice little thing for some people to put it up now. Surely.
Christmas is right. This is a question that I haven't prepared you for, and I was thinking about this. Now, I'm a Christian, and I'm proud to be a Christian. But I feel like Christ has been taken out of Christmas quite a lot. And I will say I'm not comfortable when people say Happy Christmas. I'm not a fan of that at all. I much prefer the old-fashioned Merry Christmas than Happy Christmas. But that's just my preference. But do you? I find being a man of God, if I can say that, a man of God. I find the church filled again at Christmas. Even if people don't believe, even if people are not active Christians within their lives, they will come to the crib service. They will come to the service that I really don't like, Christingle. They'll come to Christingle. They'll come to midnight mass. Are you a person to visit a church over Christmas?
I do. We do with the children.
Do you? Which service do you go to, Sue?
All the ones you don't like. So we go to the carol service because we always used to have carol service at school and things, and I miss that. We go to Christingle, and very often I go to midnight mass. But the thing is, you see, this is where I'll say to you, I probably go to church 4 or 5 times, 6 times the rest of the year. But that, I don't think that doesn't mean I'm not a believer, because I don't go every week. I try and live my life the way a Christian would, and I try, I do my praying and my whatever at home.
Come on, Sandra, tell us. Come on, because you'll be a good one to answer this question. Come on.
Well, I do agree to a point. I mean, at the moment with COVID, I'm not going to church because I am not mixing anywhere I don't need to go. And I've made the rule that I'm not mixing anywhere in groups. I agree that you don't have to. Going to church does not make you a Christian. And to go on to something that you have just said, you are a Christian. It's like Cliff Richard was on last night and he said, I became a Christian. I can't remember the date, but he said, I became a Christian. I don't understand that, because how did you wake up one morning and you're suddenly a Christian? I think I'm a Christian because if somebody is ill or somebody needs some help, my mother, I saw her in church 3 times, but I would say she was a Christian because she nursed her next door neighbour. She nursed my father as long as she could do. It's what you do with your life, really.
Your actions.
And going to church, my mother-in-law was a Catholic, and if you'd cut her in half, she would have had Roman Catholic written round her middle like a stick of rock. She did not know the meaning of the word. And if my husband was sat here next to me now, he would totally agree with me. She was not a Christian at all. She thought going to church made her a Christian, and it certainly does not. I go to church. I enjoy going to church. I don't feel bad because I've not been going of late. I have been watching the odd services online, not every week, but I agree with what you said. Going to church does not make a person a Christian.
Somebody said,
and you can pray at home.
Yeah, somebody said to me years ago, we won't talk about it too much because it wasn't a question on tonight, but somebody said to me years ago, you go to church because it's obviously scared of dying and you think it's a free way into heaven and all of that. And my answer to everybody is, no, I don't go to church for that reason. I go to church because I know I need the grace of God in my life. And that's the reason why I do it and why I want to do it. But that does not mean, I completely agree with Sandra, that does not mean that you have to be a Christian and go to church. There's many, and Africa, I was offered a place to go to Africa to do some work a couple of years ago, and I went, and there's no church building there. There's just people gathering and talking and stuff like that, and that's still church to me. So moving on from the subject, what are you planning for this year's COVID Christmas?
Well, I will probably be at home on my own. One of my granddaughters might come to stay with me because she's likely to be alone. Where I usually go to my daughter, they've got 7 in the house already. So that's me out. I think he might lift that. We'll see how we go. I mean, Nottingham's on a heavier lockdown tonight.
They are.
And it is getting worse. And it's getting worse in Lincolnshire. Boston is the least place at the moment in Lincolnshire. It was on the news tonight. But personally, I wouldn't mind being on my own. And at the end of the day, I think a lot is made of it. It is only another day. And if I was here, I could watch TV, I can have a sleep when I want one, I'd be able to have a little meal from Marks and Spencer's, I'd get the gin and tonic out, a box of chocolates, and quite honestly, I'd be quite happy because I do enjoy my own company.
That's me Monday to Friday, whether it's Christmas or not. In the living room, put a film on in my pyjamas, M&S meal for one. I love all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What are you planning, Sue? Have you got like a plan in your head for Christmas this year?
No, we're supposed to be going to my daughter's, and as you know, she's on her own with the boys. So probably Richard and I will do that, but nobody else will join us because of the rules. So that's quite fine. But I've done like that. I've been on my own before. You know, when I lived in the Vale, it was quite happy. I made it special. I got the sherry out, and I got the gin out, and I got something else. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I was around at Sue's house every week. Every week I was at Sue's house, climbing those bloody stairs.
Well, I had to bring shopping up then.
It was on the Vale. She lived very posh on the Vale. Kerry, have you got your Christmas planned out?
No. Quiet.
Oh, I'm coming round though.
Just invited himself.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that.
What are you going to do?
Me?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I think I am prepared. I've always found Christmas Day. I live on my own, but I've always found Christmas Day a day that I've never wanted to be on my own. I've never. Luckily, I've never had to make that decision of being on my own. But as I've talked about before on this show and hitting 30, people will be sick of hearing about it. I did have an epiphany. To me, it was an epiphany. And I changed to this independent sort of, don't need someone by my side, sort of, don't need looking after sort of bloke. And ever since then, lockdown, I've got lockdown to thank that for really, because it taught me to like my own company and to be okay at home on my own and be fine with it. So if I was preferenced, obviously I would love to be around people. Day is about being around people. But if that means being on my own this year, I'm prepared for that too. I'm ready for that too. And I think I'll do a Sandra. I think I'll open chocolate.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
So, I'm prepared for it. Tell us what you think about Christmas COVID, if you're facing it. Remember, you can follow us on all our social media platforms, Kerry Instagram, some Facebook, some Twitter. And also we have a email that you can email us now, looselinks@gmail.com, if you want to say any topics or conversations. Remember, joining with the show is as much your show as it is ours. So the last story, I'm going back a couple of years. As I said, I did some training this week, and this story came up in training. So things might have changed and developed from 8 years ago. So this story was 8 years ago. So a couple had to fight for their dream retirement holiday because their local council did not think it was safe for them to go because the woman had early signs of dementia. This went to court with the daughter's help, and they won the case, and the Mental Health Capacity Act that was on them was removed. So, do you think that the Mental Health Capacity Act could be dangerous when it comes to people in care?
Not that it's dangerous, but I've just recently done some training on this myself, actually, and especially when people are in a care home setting, they're assessed, aren't they? If they've got capacity to make decisions which are in their best interests. Unfortunately, if you're in a home setting, a care home setting, and you fall under the Mental Capacity Act, it's down to the district that you live in to make the decision if you're able to do something or not. And I think in this instance, what it's done is the council have implemented a decision that you cannot go away, you've got dementia, it's not safe for you to do so. And it's taken away a liberty, basically, to be able to go away with a husband. And there is something called deprivation of liberty throughout that, whereas a decision's being made. And the decision had been made probably to protect her to a certain point, but I don't think it had been assessed fully. That, what a husband was saying was that she's with me all the time, we're going to be in like a locked cabin. So, and then the option's there to take it to court, and court will look at it independently. And obviously they've overridden the decision that the district council's made. So I think regards to anything, it's kind of highlighting the process to anybody with someone in care, that if your loved one's being assessed, and a decision on their behalf is being made that you disagree with, there is the opportunity to appeal that and take it further. And it all falls down to obviously making sure that person's still got some kind of rights with regards to their own life, but also keeping them safe. I think I read something about somebody in a care home that I think it was something like they wanted to go out or do something. It wasn't go on holiday, and it was it might have been in the training actually, and it was to do with the care home set and saying no, you cannot go out on your own, because it was protecting that person. There's a lot to the Mental Capacity Act anyway, but good on the daughter for going down the route of court, because obviously family, when you've got family there, family do tend to know a bit better, don't they? So, and that's what maybe the courts looked at. So they went on the holiday. I read the story. They did ended up going on the holiday, and it was lovely to read because they'd gone on numerous cruises before, and she was happy, and she recalled some things, even though she had dementia. It did say about how she was, and it was really nice that decision had been granted for them to go.
There's two sides to it, aren't there? two sides to it. You've got to look at it from the safety angle, and you've got to look at it from a husband's point of view, who possibly wanted to take her, all right, probably sounds a bit awful to say, might have been her last cruise. He probably wanted to just do something for her. And as we know, taking dementia patients into the past is something that they've done before, brings forth other things, doesn't it? Makes them remember things.
Yeah.
I think it's you know, sticky thing to two sides to it, aren't there? Two sides. Yeah, for and against.
Well, this is going to be really hard, so I'm going to take it really slow. But as I've said, I'll always be open and honest on this show. I have been personal witness to the Mental Health Capacity Act, and I've been taken under the Mental Health Capacity Act. And it is a scary feeling when you're in a room full of 5-6 people that are deciding your future for the next couple of months. It's petrifying. I was taken under the Police Mental Health Capacity Act because I was in a really bad place. And I thank it today. I didn't at the time. Rights are taken away. There's quite a lot taken away from Mental Health Capacity Act. But I thank it because it was my lifesaver. And I don't think that if the people and the professionals around me hadn't done it, I don't think I would be here today to tell the story. So I think it's really important to have that act. But do you think it could be, this is only an opinion, remember, again, this is only an opinion, do you think that Mental Health Capacity Act, what worries me is, do you think that could ever be abused? When we talk about abuse, when we've talked about the abuse of the care home that Kerry talked about, and finding the right settlement that you talked about, Sandra, with your parents and all of that, do you think there could be a danger of that being abused?
It's got to be recorded a certain way to make a decision. It has to actually be, so you can be in a kit, right? So you're in a care home setting, a member of staff says you can't do that. That's against your human rights. Yeah. But when it's something bigger, when it's something else that's affecting them, say like going out, that has to be correctly recorded with, I think, the district that care home or home falls under. So could you go back and say, really, is your question really on what's it on? You could have a member of staff, like we've just spoke about, some of the staff that in care homes that aren't trained enough, telling someone, no, you can't do that. That's completely different, because that is abuse of mental health, isn't it, under the Act? But who else is being notified of that member of staff saying no? When it gets recorded properly, I can't see that it could be abused, but if anybody else or any of our viewers can shed any light on it, that would be really interesting, because I don't know.
No. What do you think, Sandra?
Well, I think it might, in your case, probably safeguard you if you haven't got anybody else to speak for you. It's I don't know quite what the term is really. It's looking after you in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's looking after you
because you can't look after yourself. When you're not in a frame of mind to make a decision for yourself. Yeah. Like the lady who had dementia, she had her husband speaking for her. It wasn't as if she was just going to take off on her own and go on a cruise where she would have been, well, she wouldn't have been safe to either herself or to other people. I think, again, it's two sides. It depends. Situation. Yeah.
Like power of attorney, like someone power of attorney to make a decision.
That's very dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, on your behalf, because you can actually ask someone, if you're in the very beginning of, say, dementia or being poorly, you can actually get someone to be power of attorney in the future in case you become more, and you haven't got capacity so many years down the line as well.
Yes.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Go on, Sue, what was you going to say?
The key word there is what you've said, and what comes up is safeguarding. That's why it was done. As you say, if you're like you needed it. You needed it because you had, but that lady had her husband, so they went to make that decision and didn't take that into consideration. And I think, but the main thing is the safeguarding.
Safeguarding, it'd be different if she wanted to go away on her own, wouldn't it? If she was making a decision, if she was saying, I've booked a cruise, I'm going to go on a cruise on my own, that would be completely different, because there'd be nobody with her and watching her. Could something happen? But exactly, nail on the head, isn't it? She had a husband of 20 odd years. They'd done cruises many times before. So that's the complete, that's it.
I think what I'm trying to say is what honestly shocked me is when I was in a same place again. I always had the thought of films. So I always had the thought of, there's going to be loads of group therapy here, and there's going to be talking, and there's going to be professionals that come in and this, that. Can I just say, if you suffer with mental health and you are begging for a hospital admission, it is nothing more than eat, sleep, med, repeat. And that's all it is. And they just get you to a level where you're safe to live on your own, and where you're safe to go out and to be able to look after yourself again. And for me, it changed when I pushed the system a little bit. So I stopped talking. The last time I was in, I was like, I'm not talking. And the professional said, why? And I said, because you'll get me to a suitable level of being okay again, and you'll send me out the door, but you're not giving me any
helping me
or tools to be able to cope with this myself. And that's when everything turned around. So I think it's really important, and I have people that were coming in saying the same thing. So I think I agree with you on the point that it's really important that it's not just the person in care, it's the people that are all the time around them are saying this, that and the other, and they fight your corner for you. And I'm not slagging off for 1 minute mental health services, because there's not enough funding, and that's the whole reason that we're struggling for beds in Lincolnshire and stuff like that, because there's just not enough money. And I think that's what I find as a scary factor. Yeah. But tell us what you guys think if you've witnessed mental health in that sort of way, or even work in that sector. I'm very happy to be told that my view is completely wrong. So please come forward and say it. That is it for tonight's show. Thank you so much for the discussions. I know it was very based on care tonight, so I will look. That's happened for 2 weeks running now, but it was very based on something else last week and very based on something else this week. So I will take better care next week. But talking about next week, I'm doing something that I hate. It's our Halloween special. So that means that I've got to dress up. Yay! And I hate dressing up. I absolutely hate it. Dress up parties and stuff like that, I can't stand. And I avoid them like the plague. But I will dress up next week. Kerry Gillespie has said that I can borrow her face.
I wish I could. I wish I could, but I won't.
So joining me on the dress up episode is the fabulous Dee Kelly, Joe Lloyd and Suzanne Paul. We will all be dressed up, entertaining, talking about Halloween subjects. I can't wait. Can you see my excitement? I'm so excited. Really can't. But can you thank my panel tonight, the amazing and warm-hearted Sue Craven, the gorgeous and stunning Sandra Overton, and the glorious and fabulous Kerry Gillespie. Join us next week where we have lots more fun, and my word, I can't wait. The Halloween special. Don't miss out. See you next week.
Bye. Bye.